Evening YouTube. I'm talking to you today because of what one of my pupils said a few hours ago. We were doing sociology and she told me that she thought Marx was a very out of date, that Marxism was a very old-fashioned ideology. And I completely disagree with her for two reasons I'd like to share with you today. Firstly, I won't go into this too much. He's famously the first economist to predict the global economy that we have today, national economies merging and interconnecting, which is a process that he welcomes and which all Marxists should welcome. But what I want to go into is Marx's theory of decline in the profit rate. Now, he believed class conflict was inevitable because of this. If capitalists are faced with a falling rate of profit, they're not going to be willing to allow trade unions to exist. They're not going to be willing to compromise with the working classes or to share in the proceeds. Now, at the moment, class conflict is really low key in the West because profit rates are mostly a reasonable level. But I believe this will change because of the internet. Marx predicted that eventually industries would automate so many different parts of the economy that eventually they wouldn't be able to make any more savings. So, for example, if you replace all but, say, 2 of your workers in a car factory with machines, when you're in an economic tight spot, it's going to be very difficult to cut costs because you've already paid for this machinery. It's fixed costs. Workers, they're variable costs. You can sack them quickly, easily. Not so much in the first world, but still it's a lot easier to sack workers than it is to dismantle machinery. Now, what the internet has done, it has automated the production and distribution of media. And by that I mean music, videos, games, software, books, and photos. Now, the most important rule of the modern world is that anything that can be converted into zeros and ones has a market price of 0. It can be, you only have to produce one video or one game or whatever, and nowadays you can reproduce it 1,000,000 times at virtually no cost and send it from one end of the world to the other at virtually no cost. And this that's a slight exaggeration today because not everyone has the internet and we don't have fiber optic cable everywhere, but eventually we'll see this happen. And you may have noticed that the media has had to put up with a lot of strikes recently. There was the Guild Writers of America strike, who were protesting about the share of proceeds from DVD sales, which are of course plummeting. And we've seen, and over 20 years ago in Wapping, the printers were effectively automated by computers and a handful of technicians, and that caused a strike that was a year long, in fact. So what the internet is doing is actually fulfilling Marx's predictions. Marx is not an outdated economist at all. As predicted, now that the music, film and game industries have been automated to such an extent, getting a profit out of them is becoming incredibly difficult. I mean, the reason that games are more profitable at the moment than either DVDs or CDs is simply because they're harder to download. It doesn't mean that they'll still be able to make money out of games in 50 years. I doubt that a great deal. And you'll notice PC games are a lot cheaper than console games because they're more vulnerable to internet piracy. So, basically, if you're a Marxist, don't be frightened of the internet. Don't be frightened of globalization. They fulfill his predictions, and the internet is blowing huge chunks of capitalism away. Um, Thanks, YouTube. It's been a bit of a quick one, but this was a spur of the moment thing. Talk to you later. Bye.